as a delta system, and another form of naming is known as an omega system. When we talk of a delta system, the bond position of the bond is represented over the delta, that is a triangle, and that is represented over the suffix of the triangle. थोड़ा ऊपर की तरफ उसको लिख देते हैं. Now, if you look at this fatty acid, it is made up of 18 carbons. Now, here the naming of the carbon will start from the carboxylic end. That red parts, oxygens are represented, and this is the carboxylic end. So carbon number 1 will be your carboxylic carbon. Then we start naming it. At the tail, the last carbon is the 18th one. So the first digit is representing the number of carbon atoms. 18 is to 1 is indicating how many double bonds are there. So this is telling you 1. If this would have been a saturated fatty acid, then this at this point you will be putting a 0 here. So 18 is to 1 is telling you that it is made up of 18 carbons. There is one double bond. Delta 9 is telling you that starting from the carboxylic end, the first double bond is encountered at the 9th position. So this is how it's a delta naming system. Now, another form of naming system is an omega naming system. The only difference is that whenever we start with the omega system, we instead of starting from the carboxylic end, we start from the CH3 end, the last hydrophobic carbon, the tail of the fatty acid. So again, it would be represented 18 is to 1, but instead of delta, we are going to write it as omega 9, because starting from the carbon, the tail part, it is the 9th carbon that is starting with a double bond. So this is an example of an omega 9 fatty acid. This omega system is only for a unsaturated fatty acid, whereas delta naming system goes for both, for the saturated one and as well as for the unsaturated fatty acid. So we have two naming systems, an omega naming system and a delta naming system. Now see here, this is how we name an linolenic acid. Linolenic acid, that is an 18 carbon. It was an essential fatty acid. We say that essential fatty acids, we are supposed to take them from fish. It's a very important omega-3 fatty acid. This is the meaning of what we say about an omega-3. So if you look for this structure, this is having an 18 carbon. There are 3 bonds because it is linolenic acid. So 18 is to 3 is representing that the structure is having 18 carbons. There are 3 double bonds, and the position of these double bonds are delta 9. 9 से का मतलब होता है कि 9 और 10 के बीच में. So the first is 9 starting from the COH group, because this is a delta naming system. So 9, then we have the bond starting from the 12th carbon and then to the 15th. So this is saying that if there are 3 double bonds, the position is 9, 12 and 15. Now the same fatty acid, same linoleic acid, if you name it from in terms of omega naming system, then you have to start from the tail end, and then the first bond is encountered at carbon number 3. So linolenic acid is 18 is to 3 delta 9, 12 and 15, and it is omega 3 essential fatty acid. This is how we say about a fatty acid. Similarly, we can take another example of arachidonic acid. Arachidonic acid is an eicosanoid. Eicosanoids are 20 carbon polyunsaturated fatty acid. This is very important to your system because all your prostaglandins, your thromboxanes, your different types of inflammatory components, they are derived from arachidonic acid. So your whole inflammatory, pro-inflammatory, anti-inflammatory responses, your pyrogens, they are coming from this important fatty acid, which is known as arachidonic acid. So this is a 20 carbon fatty acid. 20 is to 4 is telling you that it is having 4 unsaturations. Position of these unsaturations are 5, 8, 11 and 14. And this is how it's a delta naming system. Now, if you look for the omega one, what is the omega name of this arachidonic acid? What is arachidonic acid in terms of omega naming? क्या है ये? क्या है?
ओमेगा 6.
हाँ, ओमेगा 6। तो अगर हम अराकिडोनिक एसिड के बारे में ओमेगा के टर्म्स में बात करें, जो कि ज्यादातर आप जितने भी न्यूट्रिशनली जो important components हैं, they are in terms of PUFAs, they are named as omega. So it's an omega 6 fatty acid. So your linolenic acid is omega 3 and your arachidonic acid is omega 6. For the delta, it's 20:4, delta 5, 8, 11 and 14. Now these fatty acids, they form lipids. And these lipids, they have number of functions as we have discussed. The simplest one, which is completely hydrophobic, which cannot form your structures because structures need interaction and here there is no charge to interact. So this is a triglyceride. A triglyceride has a glycerol backbone, the 3-carbon alcohol, to which 3 fatty acids are attached. Each fatty acid is attached to an alcoholic group, OH group, to form an ester bond. So like your carbohydrates were attached, monosaccharides were attached to form higher carbohydrates through a glycosidic bond. Your amino acids were attached to form peptides and proteins through a peptide bond. Similarly, these fatty acids, they are polymerized to a backbone alcohol. Here in this case, it's glycerol, to form a bond that is known as an ester bond. Again, if you look, a molecule of water would be removed. So the structure is overall hydrophobic because both the oxygens, they are buried inside. And we have a long chain of hydrocarbon that is represented by the R dash, R double dash. These are carbon chains. So triglyceride is your storage lipid. And it's a triester of glycerol. That's why it's known as a triglyceride. So 1 glycerol plus 3 fatty acids. This is how it represents. Now, if a triglyceride is made up of all the similar fatty acids, then it is known as a simple triglyceride. Now, if any one of the fatty acid is different, then we call it as a complex triglyceride. Usually, the second carbon has an unsaturated fatty acid. And many a times this unsaturated fatty acids helps for deriving different components that is a part of metabolism. But here what we need to remember is 1 glycerol, 3 fatty acids. All the 3 fatty acids may be same. All the 3 may be different. 2 may be different. 2 may be same. 1 may be different. Either way a triglyceride can be formed. Now see another structure. This is a phospholipid. Phospholipid, this structure which is represented here is having again a backbone of glycerol. This glycerol backbone, which is represented by the light blue color, is forming an ester bond with 2 fatty acids. So carbon number 1 of glycerol is attached to a fatty acid. Carbon number 2 of glycerol is again attached to a fatty acid. And this fatty acid is showing a kink bending because of the presence of a double bond in the structure. Instead of another fatty acid that was attached to a triglyceride to form a completely hydrophobic structure, here in case of a phospholipid with a backbone of glycerol, the third carbon is attached to the phosphate group. Now this yellow structure, the light blue structure and the purple structure, this whole structure is known as phosphatidic acid. This is the backbone of all the phospholipids. Every phospholipid is going to have this backbone conserved. That is, fatty acids may vary, but there would be 2 fatty acids. One at carbon number 1 and second at carbon number 2. Third carbon will always have a phosphate group with a negative charge. And then to this phosphate group are attached polar alcoholic groups. These polar heads or alcoholic groups will define the type or the class of a phospholipid. So we have the yellow, blue and the purple part that is known as phosphatidic acid. So the parent compound of every phospholipid is a phosphatidic acid. To this are number of alcohols attached. And remember, one of the alcohol is also an amino acid, that is serine, threonine. They are alcohols. So serine is having an OH group. So it's an alcoholic amino acid. So phosphatidyl serine would be formed if to this phosphate group a serine amino acid is attached. So that is known as phosphatidyl serine. phosphatidylcholine. Different components are formed. Now this is how it is represented in a membrane. When the round head is formed and you have a single yellow chain could be attached, that is your fatty acid. Now if you are representing a round head and two chains, this is indicating that you are having a polar head and there are just two fatty chains. So this is how we start making a membrane from starting from the class. When we are discussing about a cell, we are primed to form a circle with two chains, and this is the reason that this head part is your up to the polar part, that is the phosphate and the alcohol, and the two chains, they are representing the backbone. Attached with it are two fatty acid chains. So the head part is hydrophilic in nature, and the tail parts, they are hydrophobic. So that is the orientation, how they are being aligned over the structure of a membrane. Now these are different classes of phospholipids. Now as we have already discussed, what is conserved is the phosphatidic acid. So here in every structure, what is same is the green part. Then we have the green part is representing the fatty acid. So there has to be two fatty acids. Now what will be changing here is that the type of the fatty acid may change, but there has to be two fatty acids. Then the blue part is your glycerol part, that is the backbone to which these fatty acids are attached. Carbon number 1 with one fatty acid, carbon number 2 with another fatty acid, carbon number 3 is having a black group, that is the phosphate group. So this green, blue, black is same in all the four different classes of phospholipids. The pink part is represented by the alcohol. So in first structure, it is the serine. Serine is forming a bond with the phosphate group, so it becomes phosphatidylserine. Again, to the same phosphatidic acid, if choline is attached, it becomes phosphatidylcholine. If inositol is attached, which is a hexameric structure, then it forms phosphatidyl inositol. So it's only the alcohol that is changing, and that is giving you variable phospholipids. Then we have phosphatidyl ethanol amine. This ethanolamine, if you look, it's just CH2, CH2OH, and there is an NH3 group. So an easy way to remember is ethanolamine. Everyone knows how to write the structure of an ethanolamine. When three hydrogen atoms from the nitrogen are replaced by CH3 group, it becomes choline. So this is the only difference between phosphatidylcholine and ethanolamine. So just remember their names. Structures are not asked. The only structure that you would be remembering is about serine, because phosphatidylserine is an amine, is a phospholipid from which the metabolism will start, and you will be deriving number of phospholipids. So just one has to be remembered. You need to remember the backbone of an amino acid, and it is made up of CH2OH. It's an alcoholic amino acid. Rest phosphatidic acid, even if you write, that will help. Now, as we are discussing about the phospholipids, right now we discussed about a phospholipid that is having a glycerol backbone. So if you are having a glycerol backbone, you call it as a glycerophospholipid. Now instead of glycerol, there could be another alcohol that is known as an amino alcohol, that is sphingosine. If the backbone is instead of glycerol, it is sphingosine, then we call it as a sphingolipid. Now for the glycerol, what we were doing is that we were attaching two fatty acid, a phosphate group, and a variable alcohol. So this became a glycerophospholipid. Now to sphingosine, we just attach one fatty acid, phosphate group is there, and then you have alcohol. Why choline is written here is that this is one of the major sphingolipid that is present in the human system. When to one sphingosine, one fatty acid and phosphate group is there, and then we attach a choline, this becomes sphingomyelin. So this is the most common sphingolipid that is present in the human system. Now at this stage, you are having both the type of phospholipids, one with a glycerol backbone and another with a sphingosine backbone. Glycerol is also alcohol, sphingosine is also an alcohol. Glycerol is derived from carbons. Sphingosine also has a nitrogen atom, so it's an amino alcohol. Then we have glycolipids. As the name is telling you that these are the lipids which have carbohydrates attached to them. And these lipids, they are mostly derived from sphingosine, again an amino alcohol. Now, the organization goes on in such a way that when to one sphingosine we attach a fatty acid, the structure is known as a ceramide. And to this ceramide, sphingosine plus one fatty acid, we are not talking about the phosphate group like the one that was present in this class. So here we had a phosphate group because it was a phospholipid. When we are talking about a glycolipid, it is neutral like your triglycerides. It's not having any charge here. So these glycolipids, they start from sphingosine plus one fatty acid. In this structure, this is known as ceramide. Now, if to a ceramide, you attach one carbohydrate, one monosaccharide, usually this monosaccharide is either glucose or galactose most of the time. Then it forms a cerebroside. Ceramide plus monosaccharide is cerebroside. Now, instead of monosaccharide, if the ceramide is having an oligosaccharide, then it is known as globoside. Then to a globoside, if you attach a 9-carbon carbohydrate, that is N-acetyl neuraminic acid, NANA, then this becomes gangliosides. And there are number of disorders which are associated with the accumulation of gangliosides, and this is known as gangliosidosis. And most of the ganglioside disorders, they are fatal in nature. So this part of ganglioside metabolism will be dealt later on. At this stage, you need to remember that we have glycolipids also in our body. They are neutral in nature. They are derived from sphingosine and they start with ceramide. अब questions किस तरह से पूछे जाते हैं यहाँ पर I have not framed questions today. What are essential fatty acids? What is a ceramide? What is a cerebroside? A fill up the blank may be given. A ceramide plus dash is equal to cerebroside. So you will be filling monosaccharide. Ceramide plus dash is a globoside. So you will be filling an oligosaccharide. What is the composition of a gangliosides? So composition of a ganglioside is a ceramide plus an oligosaccharide plus a 9-carbon N-acetyl neuraminic acid. So small fill up the blanks are asked at this stage. And these gangliosides, they are most of the time present over the membrane. They give identity to the cell. So this is a class of a lipid which is neutral and they are known as glycolipids. And this is a very different class. This is known as a steroid. And steroids in our system, most of them, almost all of them, they have a ring which is known as a steroid skeleton. And there is a long, beautiful name of this ring, which is made up of 3 hexameric rings and one is a pentameric ring. So what is the name of this steroid ring? जब शुरू में पढ़ते हैं तो बड़ा अच्छा सा लगता है, बड़ा लंबा सा नाम क्या है? तो कोचिंग में भी याद कराया होगा. Anybody who could name this ring?
Cyclopentanoperhydrophenethrin.
Shabash. Cyclopentanoperhydrophenanthrene ring. So this ring has to be there for a molecule to be called as a steroid. Now, if we look for the cholesterol, there are something that has to be there. One is a double bond between carbon number 5 and 6 in the structure of cholesterol that has to be there. Then there is a chain of 8 carbons present at carbon number 17, a mandatory requirement for a cholesterol, and a OH group at carbon number 3. तो कोलेस्ट्रॉल के स्ट्रक्चर में ये होना ही होना है. पहली चीज के साइक्लोपेंटेनोपरहाइड्रोफिनांथ्रीन रिंग होगा ही क्योंकि वो स्टेरॉइड है. दूसरी चीज कोलेस्ट्रॉल की रिक्वायरमेंट है प्रेजेंस ऑफ एन OH group in the structure of cholesterol. Then we have a double bond at carbon number 5 and 6, between 5 and 6, and then you have a carbon chain at the position 17. This makes the structure of cholesterol. Now tell me, Is cholesterol capable of being included in the membrane structure? If yes, why? Can a cholesterol form a part of your membrane? Anybody? Ifat?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ifat, do you agree that we have cholesterol in the as a component of our membrane?
Yes, ma'am.
Why? Why is it possible for a cholesterol to get into the membrane? See, if you look at the structure of cholesterol, at carbon number 3, we are having an OH group. Every time, whenever the cholesterol is embedded in the structure of a membrane, it has to be oriented in such a way that the OH group should be facing upwards. Upwards means the head part of your phospholipid, because this is the only group that would be presenting with the hydrophilic nature. Now, if to this OH group, because again it's an alcohol, it's an all, cholesterol, a sterol. So if to this OH group you attach a fatty acid, then this will become an ester. In the same way as TGs were forming fatty acids plus an alcoholic group of glycerol, you formed an ester. So if to this cholesterol's OH group, you attach a fatty acid, you get an ester that is known as cholesterol ester. Now tell me, is it possible for a cholesterol ester to get embedded in your membrane? इफ़त बताइए.
Yes, ma'am.
नो. अब तो ये पूरी तरह से हाइड्रोफोबिक हो गया. अब तो OH ग्रुप भी चला गया. हाँ या नहीं?
Yes, ma'am.
अरे यस मैम ही यस मैम बोलती हो तुम. देखिए, कोलेस्टेरॉल एक ऐसा स्ट्रक्चर है जो हमारे सिस्टम में दोनों तरह से प्रेजेंट होता है, इन द फॉर्म ऑफ एन अल्कोहल विद एन OH ग्रुप that may form the structural component of your system. As soon as it is converting into an ester form, now this cannot form the structure of your body, rather it would be embedded inside the cell into number of organelles so that it could be metabolized, because now it becomes hydrophobic in nature completely. We have shielded this OH group. Now, cholesterol is a steroid which gives rise to number of hormones. All these hormones which are mentioned here, progesterone, estradiols, testosterones, aldosterones, cortisones, glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids, they all are derived from cholesterols. So, ये बात एक कहते हैं कि cholesterol is bad to the system. The reason is that in human system, in human body, the metabolism of cholesterol is not very well regulated. So if you consume cholesterol over and above your physiological requirement, that may cause a problem. But it is required by your system, because if your system is not adequately supplied of cholesterol, then these number of hormones would not be appropriately synthesized. So this is the importance of the steroids or sterols, and the major sterol in our system is cholesterol. Now this is the last thing which we are going to discuss today. See, we classified lipids starting from the point that these lipids, they are made up of fatty acids. Fatty acids are saturated and unsaturated. The saturated fatty acids are harmful to your system because these saturated fatty acids, they get stacked up. Stacking over the structure is there. And when they get stacked up, they form a component that is very difficult to dissolve by our blood or different other enzymes that are there. So this is the reason that saturated fatty acids are very difficult for the body to handle. When there is an unsaturation point that is created, when there is a double bond, as we have seen in the structure, there is a bending that is created. So packed stacking of number of fatty acids are not possible. Inside our plasma, we do have free circulating fatty acids, but the number is very low. Now here comes a very important function of another function of albumin also. Albumin, we discussed that it was a simple globular protein with variety of functions. Albumin was there to buffer your system. Albumin was there to carry number of metal ions, number of hydrophobic residues. So it was a carrier protein. It was responsible for maintaining your oncotic pressure as well. So these free fatty acids, they are also carried by albumin. So whatever your plasma free fatty acids are there, they have to be carried by albumin or in some other form because they cannot be there present circulating inside your body. So this is how we classify these lipids as the one saturated one and the unsaturated one. Then we have glycerides. जब हम टर्म ग्लिसराइड यूज करेंगे तो उसका मतलब हो गया कि कैसा ग्लिसरॉल की बैकबोन आ जाएगी, ग्लिसरॉल. So in terms of glycerides, we could have neutral glycerides and we could have phosphoglycerides. Now then we had non-glyceride lipids. Non-glyceride lipid का मतलब कि अब हमारा जो बैकबोन होगा वो ग्लिसराइड का नहीं होगा बल्कि वो किसी और अल्कोहल का होगा. And in our system, in human system, we have a sphingosine to which a fatty acid and a component of an alcohol is attached. So in the human system, the most common sphingolipid is a sphingomyelin. And a sphingomyelin has a sphingosine, a fatty acid, and a choline group. These sphingolipids could also be present as glycolipids. So starting from glycerides, glyceride में हमेशा ग्लिसरॉल की बैकबोन होगी. न्यूट्रल ग्लिसराइड का कोई नाम बताए, कोई एक न्यूट्रल ग्लिसराइड का नाम.
Triglycerides.
Yes, so a neutral glyceride is a triglyceride. Phosphoglycerides, are they charged, are they polar, or what is the nature of a phosphoglyceride? They are amphipathic in nature. Okay, so this is a glyceride. A glycerol backbone. You could have the neutral one, you could have the amphipathic one. Similarly, the non-glyceride lipid, you could have a sphingolipid. Sphingomyelins or sphingolipids that we are writing here are also phospholipids because they may have a phosphate attached, but at this point we are not talking about these class. So we basically say that they are sphingolipids in nature because of the backbone classification, that instead of glycerol, we are having a sphingosine. Sphingomyelins have phosphate residue because there is a phosphate group attached to sphingosine plus fatty acid plus phosphate. Then to it is attached a choline that forms a sphingomyelin. So we have two types of phospholipids. One, a phosphoglyceride, another a sphingolipid. That too mostly sphingomyelins. Now sphingolipids could be phosphated, and if it is not having a phosphate, they go for the formation of a glycolipid. Glycolipids started from the formation of a ceramide, and that did not have a phosphate group. So we have TGs and glycolipids which are neutral in nature. We have phosphosphingomyelins and phosphoglycerides which are having amphipathic nature. अब एक बड़ा क्वेश्चन यहाँ पर ये आता है कि जब ये इतना बड़ा मैक्रोमोलिक्यूल जिसकी इतनी सारी क्लासेस हैं, they have to be metabolized, and when they are metabolized, they need to be carried in your blood. They are forming number of structures. When they are forming number of structures, then also they should become the part of your circulation. They have to be moved from one side to another side. They may be having number of destinations to go. So this forms a very complex lipid. So in order to carry this type of macromolecule, which is a lipid, there is a problem because of the nature, because they are neutral in nature, because they are hydrophobic in nature, and at times they may be amphipathic in nature. Their carrying their transport is a big problem. This problem was not there with the carbohydrate and with the proteins because they were charged in nature. So your system could easily carry them because they are having solubility nature. In order to carry these molecules in your blood to different locations, they are forming complex lipids, and these lipids they combine with small protein to form a lipoprotein. So all these lipids, they are carried in your body in the form of a structure associated with a protein moiety, and they are known as lipoproteins. So on the coming turn, we will be discussing what are these lipoproteins. Today we are stopping here. Now there is still time, we have 10 minutes. Anything which you want to discuss regarding today's lecture and the previous ones?
Hello. Excuse me, मैम.
Yes.
मैम ओमेगा 6 और ओमेगा 3 नाम कैसे दिया था हमने?
अच्छा, ये वाली चीज थोड़ा देख भी लीजिए ध्यान से, क्योंकि ये पूछते भी हैं. देखिए, जैसे एक ये हमारा फैटी एसिड है जिसको हम एसेंशियल, इसी का ज्यादातर पूछते हैं क्योंकि इसमें 3 बॉन्ड्स भी होते हैं और ये एसेंशियल भी है. तो बहुत दफा ये बना के दे देते हैं स्ट्रक्चर और कहते हैं कि बताइए ये कौन सा फैटी एसिड है. अब यहाँ पर इफ यू लुक हियर, एट दिस पॉइंट यू आर हैविंग 18 कार्बन्स. तो हमारे पास कितने कार्बन है? 18 कार्बन है. 18 कार्बन की नेमिंग हम हमेशा उसी तरह से करेंगे जैसे हमें केमिस्ट्री में सिखाई गई. हम फंक्शनल ग्रुप को कार्बन नंबर 1 मानेंगे और उसके बाद हम उसके टेल तक उसे नंबर करेंगे. उससे हमें पता चल गया कि हमारे पास कितने कार्बन. तो जो हम पहला नंबर लिखेंगे वो हम लिखेंगे कि कितने नंबर ऑफ कार्बन है यहाँ. तो ये 18 कार्बन है इसलिए हमने 18 लिख दिया. इस टू 3 का मतलब होता है कि हमारे पास 3 डबल बॉन्ड है. और उसके बाद अगर हम डेल्टा नेमिंग कर रहे हैं तो हम उन डेल्टा को ऊपर की तरफ लिख के उनके पोजीशन बता देंगे. तो अगर हम डेल्टा नेमिंग करेंगे तो COH ग्रुप से स्टार्ट करेंगे. COH ग्रुप से अगर हम स्टार्ट करेंगे तो जो हमारा पहला बॉन्ड आ रहा है डबल बॉन्ड, वो 9 पोजीशन पे आ रहा है तो हमने 9 लिख दिया. ये 9 और 10 के बीच में है लेकिन पहला तो 9 से आ रहा है अगर हम COH ग्रुप को देखते हैं तो 9 लिख दिया. उसके बाद दूसरा आया 12 पे 12 लिख दिया. उसके बाद तीसरा आया 15 पे तो 15 लिख दिया. इस तरीके से अगर हम लिखेंगे तो ये हो गया डेल्टा नेमिंग. डेल्टा नेमिंग के अब हमारे पास 3 कंपोनेंट्स हो गए, एक नंबर ऑफ कार्बन, एक नंबर ऑफ बॉन्ड्स और एक पोजीशन ऑफ बॉन्ड्स. पोजीशन ऑफ बॉन्ड्स हमेशा ऊपर की तरफ डेल्टा पे लिखी जाएगी. अब आ गया दूसरा नेमिंग सिस्टम ओमेगा. ओमेगा के लिए अब हम क्या करेंगे कि लास्ट का जो टेल पार्ट, टेल वाला जो एंड होता है, उसके कार्बन को हम कार्बन नंबर 1 काउंट करेंगे बॉन्ड को गिनने के लिए. जिस भी पोजीशन पे पहला बॉन्ड आ जाएगा उसको, वो नंबर हम उसे डेजिग्नेट कर देंगे, उसे ओमेगा 3 कहते हैं. तो जो लास्ट कार्बन से अगर हम देखें तो एक नीचे की तरफ का कार्बन, एक ऊपर की तरफ का जो उठा हुआ कार्बन है वर्टेक्स पे, फिर एक नीचे की तरफ गिरा. तो जो थर्ड पोजीशन पे है वहां पर पहला डबल बॉन्ड आया, इसलिए हमने उसे ओमेगा 3 कह दिया. तो इस तरीके से करते हैं. अगर 6 पे आएगा तो 6 कह देंगे, 8 पे आएगा तो 8 कह, ओमेगा 9 होता है, ओमेगा 9 बोल देंगे उसे.
ओमेगा सिस्टम में
और
369 लिखा जाने का है.
जी,
हम ओमेगा सिस्टम में हम एक बॉन्ड रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं बस, मतलब जैसे 3 लिख
हाँ
दिया.
हाँ, बस देखिए, हाँ हाँ, बस ओमेगा नेमिंग में सिर्फ हम एक ही पहला बॉन्ड रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं. और ओमेगा जो है वो अनसैचुरेटेड के ही लिए होता है. बस उसकी इंपॉर्टेंस यही होती है कि वो किस टाइप का बॉन्ड से वो शुरू हो रहा है. पहला जो चेन है वो आपका छोटा हो गया, तो जो बैकबोन, जो कार्बन की चेन थी उस पर जैसे बॉन्ड आ गया वहां से बेंडिंग शुरू हो जाती है. तो फर्स्ट बॉन्ड जो एनकाउंटर्ड होता है बस वही लिखेंगे, जबकि डेल्टा में हम सारी पोजीशन बता. और कुछ
इकोसोनोइड क्या होता है?
इकोसिनॉइड्स होते हैं 20. हाँ, पहले ही बता दूं इसका. इकोसिनॉइड्स जो है वो 20 कार्बन के पॉली अनसैचुरेटेड जो भी फैटी एसिड्स है उसकी क्लास को इकोसिनॉइड कहते हैं. एराकिडोनिक एसिड भी एक क्लास ऑफ, मतलब एक टाइप ऑफ इकोसिनॉइड है. जो 20 कार्बन अनसैचुरेटेड फैटी एसिड्स हैं उन्हें इकोसिनॉइड्स कहते हैं. और इकोसिनॉइड्स जो हैं वो प्रोस्टाग्लैंडिन सिंथेसिस में हेल्प करते हैं, तो इसलिए ये बॉडी के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं क्योंकि ये इन्फ्लेमेटरी रिस्पॉन्सेज में इन्वॉल्व होते हैं. और क्या पूछ रहा था ये? बस. Should I exit because there is next class also that has to be joined?
मैम स्फिंगोलिपिड बता दीजिए दोबारा.
अच्छा, देखिए, स्फिंगोलिपिड्स दो तरह से बनते हैं। पहली बात हमें ध्यान ये रखनी है कि उसकी जो बैकबोन है वो स्फिंगोसीन हो, ग्लिसरॉल नहीं होगी। अब अगर स्फिंगोसीन में हमने सिर्फ फैटी एसिड जोड़ दिया तो वो सिरामाइड बन गया, यानी पिंक पार्ट और येलो पार्ट, ये सिरामाइड बन गया। इस सिरामाइड से हम डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ ग्लाइकोलिपिड्स डिराइव कर सकते हैं। स्फिंगोसीन एक फैटी एसिड सिरामाइड, उसमें मोनोसेकेराइड जोड़ दिया सेरिब्रोसाइड, उसमें एक ओलिगोसेकेराइड जोड़ दिया ग्लोबोसाइड। तो ये स्फिंगोसीन फैटी एसिड के डेरिवेटिव्स होते हैं जिन्हें हम ग्लाइकोलिपिड्स कहते हैं। अब अगर इस स्फिंगोसीन और फैटी एसिड में हमने फॉस्फेट ग्रुप जोड़ दिया तो ये फॉस्फोस्फिंगोलिपिड बनेगा। और इसके साथ जैसे हम नॉर्मल फॉस्फोलिपिड जो ग्लिसरॉल वाले थे उनमें अल्कोहल जोड़ रहे थे, इसी तरह से यहाँ पर भी अल्कोहल जुड़ेगा। तो ये एक तरह का एक और फॉस्फोलिपिड बनता है जो कि स्फिंगोसीन डिराइव्ड होता है, तो उसको हम स्फिंगोफॉस्फोलिपिड कहते हैं। तो मोटी मोटी बात ये है कि स्फिंगोलिपिड्स दो तरह के होते हैं, एक ग्लाइकोस्फिंगोलिपिड्स, एक फॉस्फोस्फिंगोलिपिड्स। फॉस्फोस्फिंगोलिपिड्स चार्ज्ड होते हैं, ग्लाइकोस्फिंगोलिपिड्स न्यूट्रल होते हैं। ठीक, okay, now I should leave because some other teacher is waiting for the class to be taken.